Three Brothers, Five Things.
Hey!
We're here. We did it.
We did it, Roman.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Two Brothers, Five Things podcast. Now, you might be watching this and wondering...
Who's this guy?
There's three people here.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
And the person to my right...
And my left...
is our older brother, Colton.
Welcome. So this literally is now Three Brothers, Five Things.
Three Brothers, Five Things.
This is Rocky. Tum Tum, thanks for having me.
Ooh. Well, Three
Callback.
Ninjas. This episode sponsored by Three Ninjas Kick Back. See it on Netflix.
It's literally the only shout out they've gotten in the last 20 years.
Probably. And it's also, it actually is on Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
When I looked last, yes.
I'm afraid to watch it because it's going to shatter all of my illusions that it is a great movie.
So full disclosure, I've already introduced it to the next generation of Johnsons.
Okay.
And everyone wants to be a ninja now.
Okay.
All right.
All right. What about Surf Ninjas? You brought that back up?
Oh, they watched that a long time ago.
I love that movie.
Rob Schneider's best work.
It really is.
Absolutely.
Probably his first work.
Definitely early.
Definitely early in the career.
Who's this, Cameron?
Roman, that I do believe is the Storm King. I think it says on the bottom of his base.
The Storm Giant, actually.
The Storm Giant. I was so close.
And is this like a special one?
Just a dragon. Just a tiny dragon.
Your basic
And I've got
red dragon.
Harshnag, which is a funny name, but yeah, Harshnag. He's a harsh nag.
Nobody likes to be a nag.
Especially a harsh one.
So if you've watched previous episodes or clips, you know that Cameron has a addiction to board games. And one of the things, apparently, I don't know this, you can maybe speak to it. One of the things that comes along with the board game addiction is the addiction to the fascination with, what are these called? Figurines?
Yeah, miniatures, technically, but that is a large miniature, very large one. Well, yes. Okay. So I am an enthusiast. I do love board games, but I'm also I play a lot of them, but I also am a collector, which means like I want to have every game, and I understand that that's just not feasible, but I want them. And then that has brought its way over to like miniatures, because there's some games that just have bad pieces and you can drop any old miniature in it and it's wonderful.
So you replace the pieces to the game.
Sometimes.
Because they just aren't cutting it.
So is miniature like the same thing that G.I. Joe did with Barbies? They just called it something different?
It's possible. It's possible. They're toys for adults and kids, I guess. My kid plays with them.
It's a collectible.
Yeah.
Well, I like my Storm Giant. He'll be my guy.
Well, fine. Thanks for making fun of it for so long. Before we get into the episode here.
I don't think we ever properly introduced ourselves. My name is Roman, and
I'm Cameron.
And you already met Colton.
We introduced him. Yes.
And this is the first time we've been together in the same room in 10 years.
That's just
not true at all.
After that big feud we had, I was so mad at both of them.
No, we've always gotten along pretty good.
Yeah. But the rest of them, I'm just kidding. I don't.
There is other Johnsons running around.
We do have other siblings, and we love them all. Yeah, and so,
but not as much as we love each other.
Sorry, brothers and sisters.
We love you guys.
We don't want to give out personal information, so we're just going to call them brothers and sisters
on the podcast.
Peoples. Yes.
So today we've got a pretty
familiars.
Yes,
if you will.
Familiars. We've got a pretty fun topic today. The format of this show is that it's called Two Brothers, Five Things. For this episode, it's Three Brothers, Five Things.
Sorry about that.
Art's probably going to stay the same.
Yeah, we're not going to change anything. It's too much work. And we go through top five things of whatever topic we're talking about that day. And so we invited our brother Colton to be on a guest here to weigh in on this topic.
It's a very special
it's a specialized
episode,
topic.
And it's a special topic. And the reason we wanted his voice in on this is because I feel like he's been prepared for years on this subject.
Definitely.
And that is the zombie apocalypse. What items would you bring in a zombie apocalypse?
100%.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You've had a list for a while.
It's been in my mind, but I've had it for a while, and I actually carry some of these things on my person on the regular.
So you're like me in the fact that you believe that a zombie apocalypse is probably the most, believable monster scenario. Like, if any monster scenario was going to happen, it's not going to be Dracula.
No.
It's most likely not going to be werewolf.
Godzilla, maybe.
Maybe.
He's out there somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, mega
like
shark.
an ocean
possibly.
Godzilla.
But, like, the zombie apocalypse feels like it could happen at any moment.
Especially after the bath salts.
After and after all the nonsense with the pandemic, as they say.
Yeah.
I mean, this is tinkered with.
I'm not going to lie to you. Roman, I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm also not going to lie to you, Colton.
I appreciate that.
Whenever the pandemic started, I had recently watched World War Z. I kind of thought to myself, uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure at one point I texted Colton and asked for his top recommendations on what to put in a bag in case we had to make for the woods.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even joking. That's 100%.
It was you did.
Things were pretty shaky there for a little bit.
And I'm pretty sure I told you can't do it in a bag. You need like a container to fit everything. Because I had 2 big, like 55-gallon containers that I put all my stuff in.
How are you going to carry those?
They're on wheels.
Yeah, you want to put them in a car. Yeah.
On casters, I suppose.
But the thing about this, and Colton, why are you, I don't know, why do you think you're particularly equipped to speak into this topic?
I have a very particular set of skills.
It's true. It's true. Skills we can't even talk about on this show.
I don't think we can. Can we?
No.
For legal reasons.
Yes.
We'll keep it
He's
in
wanted in 5 states. I'm kidding.
Interpol's after me.
Cool. Probably a bad idea to come on the podcast.
I was going to wear one of those fake mustaches.
No,
good stuff.
It has to do with his employer and things that we can't get into. We just can't, or else someone might come flying through that window there. I don't know.
It's a 2nd-story window.
They have ways.
They
have
also
their
have a
ways.
particular set of skills.
Okay, so but I feel like we came up with this topic because we feel like you could have some good input here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb. Because we didn't really define this more than items other than weapons.
Which was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Well, we allowed one like primitive weapon that could be used like as a tool in sorts,
which didn't even make my list.
Oh,
I'm going to be honest.
You're definitely going to die.
What I was going to say is I'm going to go on a limb and say you guys went more about preservation of life. I went for quality of life. Okay.
So you're going to have a very short life, but it's going to be bougie.
Yes.
He's got a sleeping bag in there. Yeah. It's on his list.
Okay. I bet you it is.
We'll see.
You just throw away the card now.
I have a feeling that I'm going to take this in a very strange direction compared to you guys. But how about Colton? Why don't you kick us off with your number 5?
Now, hold on. Before we get into this. Disclaimers. So this was a kind of confusing list for me to do because I felt like at times I was like, it is entirely based on the scenario, even like the season. Like what I planned for
I didn't think about that.
What I planned for was like technology has come to a crash, like most zombie apocalypses we've seen.
Mm-hmm. There is no government.
For whatever reason,
the smart people didn't have the street skills to survive.
Exactly. So. And so they were like, you know what?
Internet's
zombie
down.
Apocalypse. They hit this giant button. There's no cell phones. There's no technology anymore.
Right.
Cars, for some reason, don't work anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of the
I don't know how to make gas.
Exactly. So that's the direction that it's the middle of summer, so I don't need a giant coat.
You're saying it's the middle of summer in our scenario? Like as if it's happening right now?
I more so was just thinking like shows that I've seen, you don't normally see like the middle of winter zombie apocalypse. It's always very hot, and everyone wakes up super sweaty, and it's like something's happened. The world's different.
Well, a lot of them, a lot of them are also like post-apocalyptic, like nuclear apocalypse style,
so.
Where like that's not really where I was heading with this. It was more just kind of what you're talking about, like survival, preservation of life, how to outlive everyone else.
I think that's kind of what my list would reflect. That like.
My list is nothing.
Basically, my list probably reflects like what I assumed was going to happen when the pandemic rolled around, and I was about to have to,
bug out the bug out bag.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my disclaimer.
I was really a little bummed, if I'm being honest. I was a little bummed when I had to unpack my bug out stuff because there was so much stuff
back to work?
that I hadn't got to use.
Gosh.
I can't wait to see what was in that
I've got to
bag.
put this baseball bat with nails through it up back into the sports bin.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I ruined the baseball bat.
Here's all these toothpicks that I was going to be chewing as I was talking to people. Bye.
All right. Oh, and we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it light. Keep it fun.
I'm going to have some fun with it.
You know, this is obviously about the end of the world and zombie apocalypse, but we're gonna keep it fun.
Oh,
Which will be reflected in my list.
Also, a slight disclaimer: I have no family in this list.
This is solo.
Yeah, this was me alone. Something happened to the rest of my family, and I'm sorry to my family as we get into this list. Last disclaimer.
Who knows?
from me.
Maybe we're together. 3 brothers.
Well, if that's the case, we
Fighting
should have
zombies.
consulted on-
Three brothers, 3 million zombies. 3 trillion zombies?
Back to back to back. 3 ninjas.
Well, you don't even have a weapon,
Bring it
so I
on.
think you're going pretty fast.
They're gonna love me.
All right,
Let's
Colton,
get the
what's
party
your,
started.
what's your
He's
first?
the dead weight we're going to have to drag
All right,
around.
Colton, what's your number 5?
Number 5 is a multi-tool.
The multi-tool.
Multi-tool.
Yeah,
like
you know-
a little tiny Swiss Army knife.
Well, no. Okay, so I've even...
Oh
He's
my
got
God.
one with him
Did you
at
hear
all
that
times.
Velcro? Did you
At
guys
all
hear that
times.
Velcro?
So it's
Okay.
the biggest thing about a multi-tool is it needs the pliers.
Okay.
There's so many times when you're
pull
like...
out a loose tooth.
Well, think about it. What if you found a radio? You're trying to find more people,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the radio's broken. You got to get in there. I've got a
If I find a
screwdriver.
radio, pliers are not going to help
No,
me
I got
get it back working.
it might just be a loose wire. I don't know.
Okay,
So,
all right.
but also, what if you get shot by like an arrow or bullet? You got to pull that thing out. You never saw Rambo use these. You know why? Because it's not very cool. It's much cooler to pour gunpowder on it. Just burn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Much more practical.
This is very practical. I like so this. Okay,
no.
so this episode is going to have some very practical.
Our list. I'm going to go next.
Okay, it's got some very practical tips in it. I like it. He's like an expert.
This is great.
All right,
Our lists are not going to be that good.
go for it.
Case in point, Blanky was my first one. Number 5, Blanky. It was just a fun way of saying like a blanket that I could use
Yeah.
to like be a filter as well, like something that's
Like a
more,
COVID
fil-
mask? Is
more
that what
than
you're talking
filter.
about?
What's a filter?
Like, to get water in the blanket, let it filter through a little bit,
I don't think that does anything for.
Just so
They
you know,
like
you're
charcoal.
both gonna die.
I'm not
This
saying
is-
you got to get. Wait
heard
until
of me. You
wait
heard my
until-
list yet.
Wait until the rest of my list. What I'm saying is like all the bigger debris, all the rocks that goes out. You could also use it to like kind of dam up a river if you needed to.
A blanket?
Fish to swim in there. You could.
I've
with
never-
the rest of the things
I've
on
never
my
seen
list.
a beaver use a blanket.
I don't know about this.
dam up a
Beavers
river.
have wool.
So this doesn't the whole like.
All I'm saying is-
comfort item doesn't play into this.
It would also be a comfort item.
That's
I
wet all the
suppose.
time for your purposes.
It could dry. Man, I'm so ill-equipped for this zombie
All right.
apocalypse.
Blanky.
But Blanky was definitely my first one,
It's not
and
bad. All this honorable
I mean,
mentions.
for filtering out big chunks of nasty, it
Okay.
would work.
My first number 5 is probably the most practical item on my list.
Tell me.
When you're in a zombie apocalypse, you're going to need to be building a lot of fires, getting firewood, handling lots of things. High quality leather gloves are an essential to keep those hands protected.
Okay. I'll give you
Are
this.
gloves
Yeah.
not on your list? What happens if your hands go?
How are you gonna nod at his and say Blanky was just so bad?
Here's the thing. Okay,
I see where he's going with this because there's mess with barbed wire. If you're wrapping that bat with barbed wire, you want leather gloves,
That's a
right?
good point, I
Keep the
suppose.
hands protected because hands
You
are
don't
everything.
want to get tetanus.
Exactly. Okay,
I
so
get it.
fun story about high quality leather gloves. So, I currently don't. I have some leather gloves, but they're just like work
Yeah.
ones. I want like a $300 or $500 pair of leather gloves.
You want or have?
I want one.
Oh, thank God.
I want one that's been crafted like in Sweden. That's like supple. Okay, so it's my
This
story.
is not a story.
My story. My story. So I've got into the show called Alone. You guys seen the show?
I have seen the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
I have
so
not.
it's all these. I'm trying not to give you spoilers here. Also, this story's a little bit of graphic, squeamish. If you're a little squeamish, fast forward like 3 minutes. Hit that 15-second button like 12 times. So
Go for it.
okay, so I'm watching this. We just got into this show Alone, which is why the zombie apocalypse thing is top of mind for me because it's a survival. They drop like 10 people off in like the wilderness separately, and they have to last 100 days. And even if 9 of them drop out and one of them's still going,
They don't know that the other people, dropped out.
Yeah. So these people are like hardcore survivalists. They're not just everyday people. This one guy on the episode last night. This is fresh. I just saw it last night. Which is why this high quality leather gloves made my list.
Which was a Sunday?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
So I'm watching the show, and a big deal for every contestant is they want to get a big animal. They want to kill a big animal.
Have meat for days.
For the meat. Yeah. And this one's in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And it's like in the Arctic.
Okay.
And so this one guy is like hardcore survivalist expert, the most hardcore person I've seen on the show yet. He finds a muskox, which is like basically like an ox. It's like a cow with like horns and everything. He shoots it with an arrow from 35 yards, takes it down, and then finishes it off by stabbing it with his knife in his hand.
With his gloves.
Wearing the gloves. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, he kills the muskox. Big win for him. He was pumped.
Yeah.
Had to butcher it all
Naturally.
up. And
he has a horn hat. Viking style.
Like a Viking cup out of the
exactly.
horn.
Exactly. This story's about to get pretty gross. So
is it not already?
No, it's not. This is the very tame part.
Oh.
So he's butchering the animal up, and he's. I'll just put it this way: he did not waste any part of the animal. He used it all.
Oh.
He literally killed the animal. I'm trying not to do spoilers here, but he cut out the heart and ate it warm, like ate it right there.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's a thing. Yeah. Apparently, it was like he just ate it.
It's not my thing.
It's a thing for people who wear very nice leather gloves.
So anyway, to the leather gloves. I'm getting there. The leather gloves.
I'm just trying to move the story along here, Roman.
Cut to him with a small bag, which was the muskox's scrotum that he had cut off and used it. He says
now it's a coin purse.
He says
that was a small bag?
Yeah, it was a small bag. The native people use it all the time because it's already in bag shape. And
I hate this story so much.
He's polishing polishing his leather gloves with something that's in the bag. Turns out it's the muskox brains that make a wonderful leather conditioner. Then turns out muskox brains. So he's got his little pouch brains. Yeah. Turns out muskox brains is great for chapped face, chapped lips, and chapped hands. So he starts scooping and like it's nothing, applying this to his face and hands.
This guy's definitely a psychopath or something.
I hate this. For sure, there's something wrong with that fella.
So the leather gloves. He said,
I do know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Get him all supple, and it conditioned him up real nice. My thought is, in a zombie apocalypse, there's going to be plenty of brains laying around. So I'm going to keep those leather gloves nice and supple. Whether it be zombie brains.
So in that scenario, you don't have a bag.
That story took us all the way back around just to tell us how you're going to keep the gloves all supple.
Exactly. You're not going to have leather conditioner out there.
Roman, I've been meaning to talk to you about your stories. Fun story about just a quick little add-on to the story of Alone, just the show in general. I had a friend, his name's Chris. Chris, if you're out there watching.
It was a terrible
Sorry,
throw.
I'm about to tell you about this, tell everyone about this. But he auditioned for the show Alone. And basically he went out to Antlers, Oklahoma, out into the wilderness, and he like camped by himself, like set up cameras and stuff, and did his like audition thing. But like you're supposed to go out there with like nothing. And he goes out there with like meal bars and stuff. And literally in one of the parts of his audition tape, you see him like talking about like, it's been crazy. And he's like getting the meal bar out of his teeth that he was just eating. He obviously didn't get on the show.
Get the show.
He could have done it though.
These people are so intense.
Yeah.
Like literally cutting the heart out of animals.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Well, those audition tapes are also very, I don't know how far they actually get to, just who watches them. I mean, I submitted mine to Ninja Warrior years ago. I never got a call.
Never got a call.
You just show up, don't you? Either way.
Let's
move on to the next one. Colton, you want to start us?
Sure. Antibiotics.
Ooh,
penicillin.
Penicillin. A good one.
Penicillin, amoxicillin. Yeah, things like that.
Now, in the zombie apocalypse, does the antibiotics cure you from a zombie bite?
No.
What's the understanding?
You seen
here?
World War
No,
Z?
this is like
If you
get
trip.
sick. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you
right.
just like you get sick. You get the
Dysentery.
well. Then
played Oregon Trail.
you're dead if you get dysentery.
Well,
Everyone knows that. So,
Based on Oregon Trail, you'd be correct.
yeah, so-
Antibiotics.
no, it's just quality of life. I mean, think about how many times in the last 5 years you've had to take antibiotics and how miserable you'd be if you're running from zombies. And you didn't have shit.
I mean, if you get the
man, I
Hershey
just made
squirts
fun
in a
of you,
zombie
too.
apocalypse, that's a problem.
because there's a trail leading right to where you
You're
are.
leaving a trail.
And
that's-
I smell it, I guess.
zombies don't smell.
Yeah, they do.
They go
Oh, they
entirely based
definitely
on
smell.
sound.
They definitely-
They-
what?
Oh, is
They're
that
going
true?
entirely based on sound.
I don't know
probably.
about that.
Cameron, what's
Anyway,
yours?
all right. Number four. A very large roll of duct tape. This is just to get me started, all right?
All right, I can see it.
Obviously, it's not going to last the whole zombie apocalypse, but I mean, it could get me
No,
started.
I mean that when I had a motorcycle, I always had duct tape on my motorcycle because it could fix anything.
I got duct tape in my car at all times.
What did you just say?
I said I got duct tape. I got duct tape in my car all the time.
Yeah, I just think whenever you get into like making things, crafting items, since we couldn't bring weapons, when you start getting into like crafting things, it would be very handy.
Or if a zombie eats your leg off, just duct tape that bad boy back on.
That's not.
I'm pretty sure
Or
you're a
duct tape
zombie
the
at that
stump.
point.
You could duct tape the stump.
You'd have to chop the stump.
If you needed to, you
Oh,
could also
man.
use the duct.
It's hard to say
Duct
duct tape.
tape.
That's what I said. Duct tape.
Duct tape.
The duct tape.
You could use it to make like a bowl or a cup. You're not going to be able to cook anything in it, but it'll hold.
I feel like that would be a waste of duct tape.
I agree.
Well,
You're gonna
right.
want to use duct
You're
tape for its
right.
primary function, which is taping
which is taping things together.
Well, yeah.
Actually, its primary function was fixing air ducts, but nobody uses it for that.
That's true.
That's true.
But
That's pretty good.
yeah, very large roll.
Nice one, Cameron.
Very
Okay,
large.
This next one for me. Let me set this up.
Roman.
So in the zombie apocalypse, this item for me is twofold. Okay, it is relieving a
Are you
negative.
trying to read it right now? Or are you looking over?
It's-
What? Oh, I was. My bad. Sorry.
It is relieving a
a
negative,
natural
but
cheater.
also adding a positive.
Okay.
Twofold item. So in the zombie apocalypse, there's going to be a lot of rotting flesh, a lot of death,
You say nose plugs.
and it's going to be stinky. There's going to be smells that you cannot even imagine,
Wow.
which is why I'm bringing a wood wick candle. Okay? A wood wick candle. And here's the reason you may be asking, if you never heard about the wood wicks, have you guys heard about the wood wicks?
I only use wood wicks.
I've heard about Woodwick.
But
Okay.
also, now you're just making unnecessary
No,
sound.
listen to me. Okay, so you got the goods. You're dealing with the smell issue.
Crackle.
The wood wicks, if you've never used them, it's like a tiny campfire in a candle, so it makes a little crackle.
Yeah.
It just adds a lot of positive vibes.
Sound and light pollution.
You could even
You're
get
gonna
a-
get caught twice from zombies.
You could even get a campfire smelling
smell.
one.
and smell if they can smell.
Listen, you could get a campfire smelling wood wick candle to have on the go when you're missing your campfire because you're gonna be
you
that's
didn't
your home
have
base.
time.
You're gonna
You
have
were running away.
So, are you just planning on being dead after like I don't know, 48 hours?
I think really when I was making this list in this scenario, I was with you. And so you have all the
Well, I
real
wish you would have
things.
told me about that because I wouldn't have gotten anything.
I have all the creature comforts.
I would have only had blankie and things like that. Well, that's good. Woodwick candle's good.
Woodwick candle.
I do love a good Woodwick candle. They're
If you've never tried it, go to Target, buy a wood wick.
It's the only candle that I'll use because the sound, the nice little crackle that it has. It's lovely.
And anybody watching this who owns a company that makes wood wick candles, give us a call.
Yeah.
You can be our first sponsor.
You are welcome to sponsor
We
us.
love them.
Yes.
Or send us wood wick candles for free, and maybe we'll talk about them.
Yeah.
You never know who's watching.
We'll have a Woodwick candle right here in the middle of the table, crackling.
great
The
idea.
whole time. Woodwick, if you're out there, send us some our way.
Give us a call. All right.
Number 3?
Yeah, let's move to number 3.
All right, Colton, what you got?
Oh, honorable mentions.
There was like
That
40 things
that
on
was
your
a very
honorable
large
mentions.
honorable mention list.
It's guys, come on.
I mean,
it's
yeah.
not easy.
I
But
get
here we
it.
go.
I understand.
Number 3, Flint Strike.
I read the
Strike.
first strike, as in like Rambo.
I read Flintstones.
Well, first of all, that's First Blood.
What's first strike?
That's nothing.
It's not a thing.
Man, I gotta
Flint
go back
Strike
and
is
watch
good
some
though. That
movies.
is to
Yeah, it's the
Start the fire.
little metal piece that you run a little metal piece down another piece, and it creates a spark, and then you can.
I just realized I have nothing to create fire on my list.
I have a woodwick candle,
but you don't have a way to
light it. Unless lighter's higher on your list.
which is why
he's sitting there with two
which
sticks,
is
just
why
spinning them together.
a magnifying glass is my number 2, using the sun.
Is it your number 2?
No,
All
it's
right,
not.
okay.
I was planning on finding
I
fire.
actually did think
somewhere.
about magnifying glass, but I was like, what an inefficient way to make fire.
Just bring a lighter.
Yeah,
in
Yeah,
that
so
case.
this literally makes it really quick. But I
that's
mean,
good.
Now, does the flint? This is a serious question. Is the flint strike run out, or does it always work?
I mean, it
It's
will
a
eventually, but it's like
A long
it's going to be
time.
hundreds or thousands of strikes before
this
it
is
runs
like.
out.
Is it kind of like this shape?
Yeah, it's just
And it like.
well,
Yeah, just create sparks.
yeah, it's kind of a cylindrical shape. I think
What do you rub against
have
it?
one.
You have one.
I know.
I
you did
gave
give me
you
one.
one.
But
Why are you asking about this?
What do you
Have you
rub?
never used
What do you rub against it?
My
The
gift was
stick.
not very
The stick
appreciative.
that comes with it.
You rub a stick.
Appreciative?
What?
Appreciative?
He was not
There
appreciative
we go.
of it.
There we go.
Appreciative,
So yeah, no,
yeah.
it's like
It
this.
wasn't appreciated.
It's like a few inches long. I think yours was only like smaller.
It's true.
A teeny flint.
Sad.
But then, yeah, you've got basically this metal rod, and you run another metal piece against it, and when you run it down, it creates a spark that you can, stoke with little fire, with
Yeah.
either hay
Which
or
again would have
grass.
been-
And,
What
and
about
do, you do this.
Yes.
You don't lick it, Roman.
I've always seen people do that. Like,
Well,
I
it's
guess
it's,
so,
it's actually
yeah.
just easier to have like a fire starter piece with you.
oh,
Well, hey.
No spoilers, but
I got to
Oh.
figure out
the zombies will
what
never
the first
strike.
strike is because I'm certain it's a movie.
I don't think it. Maybe it's a martial arts movie.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
What you
it's
got
a
for number
Van Damme
3?
movie.
It might be. I know the first strike is a movie.
Mr. Jean Claude, if
If
you
you're
want to
watching,
come onto the
can
podcast,
you just no need to come onto the podcast.
no,
Just-
he could do the splits right here.
I know, but it just seems
pretty sweet.
unnecessary. I just want him to comment if the first strike is one of
John,
his movies.
comment and let us know. That was the end of my sentence.
Sounds good. My number 3 item, kind of a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. A camelback backpack. Like a really big backpack. Like they have like the bigger ones, but it also has a thing in there for water, so I could fill up the water. 2 birds, 1 stone. I've got probably not cold water. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Well, it's gonna be
I've
against
got-
your body,
I've
so-
got hot water boiling against my back that I can just, and then like hands free, go back to whatever I was doing.
that's
I've used
nice.
the camelback a lot. I love my small one for whenever we're
On a
going on
long
hikes.
hike.
Yeah, went to the Grand Tetons Mountains. Have you heard of this place?
I was there with you.
Okay, yeah, you know you were. But as we were hiking there, I had 2.5 liters right on my back.
Hot tip that you told me.
I was about
freeze the pack.
freeze the pack.
That way, in the morning, it's nice and cold when you're hiking.
Unless
and
it's
it melts
winter.
throughout the day.
Unless it's winter.
Unless
But
you're-
if it's hot outside, you freeze you don't fill it up all the way because it'll bust the camelback. But you freeze it, put it on your back, and it's just nice little chill. It keeps your back all nice and cold.
Yeah, it's just a hot camping tip
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
just a fun tip if you're not.
But
a
in the zombie
camelback
apocalypse,
user.
you probably won't have a freezer. So let's keep
It's
it
just
warm.
going to be warm, but you still need water.
It's
so.
a nice tepid water on your back.
Yeah.
Well, we need water, and
Water,
it's gonna have to
food,
sit
shelter.
somewhere.
Water,
okay?
food, shelter, clothing, optional.
Again,
Clothing's
those
optional.
things
Yeah.
I was planning on
Exactly.
mooching off of you guys.
Yeah.
So
well,
didn't
you
make
can't.
my list.
You can't have any of my
Which is
camelback
why
water.
number 3 is a box set DVDs of Walking Dead. Here's why.
You do.
Here's why.
Again, if number 2 or 1 is not a DVD player
Or a TV.
Here's why.
Or a TV.
Let me explain myself.
or a power supply.
We've got all that. It's fine.
we found a house.
This is basically source material for what you're going to run into in the zombie apocalypse. They've done like 10 seasons.
I'm
They've
well
covered
aware-
every scenario
I
you'll
watched
possibly
it.
run into.
I watched it for a while, and it gets a little graphic, but I literally watched a guy bite out another guy's jugular. None of them were zombies.
Yeah. It was actually a good.
So
That
the
was a pretty
turning
great
range?
moment in the
Yeah.
show.
But listen.
But it got a little graphic for me. I got a little uncomfortable. I was like, oh, I hate this.
Yeah, I think I stopped watching it like season 3. But if it's a zombie apocalypse, I'm getting this to just
Your
study
instruction
up.
manual.
Exactly.
get-
Some people will bring like a how to eat roots.
Well, that's one of my.
book.
That's actually one of
are
my.
you texting, googling during zombie
that's
apocalypse?
that's how he used books.
Listen, I'm just saying you're gonna want to. They've covered all this already. you're going to want to know what to do in these scenarios. And,
Yeah,
I think it'd be a good reference.
And here's the real talk about zombie apocalypses. It's not the zombies you got to worry about. It's the other people.
The other
Ooh.
people. It's
It's
the other
always
people.
the
The
other
Walking
people.
Dead
Put that
does-
quote on screen.
We're not going to do that. But The Walking Dead does get into a lot of that. I mean, like that, and that's partially why I stopped watching it, because I was like, I just wanted to see him kill zombies.
A lot of human on human crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, humans can be terrible
Yes,
people.
humans can turn. Hey, when the world goes to crap, people just go. Also, they go with it.
Are
sometimes.
zombies considered humans?
No, they're undead.
But they're
They're
What would they be?
No, they're undead.
zombies, I guess, is their own
They're-
category.
They're new. They're
new
They're a
category.
new category,
Yeah.
and it's undead.
It's
Here we
like,
go.
it's like
This is a
humans,
Any game
monkeys,
that you-
zombies.
Yeah, that's you. If you've ever played World of Warcraft, there are human.
Hashtag wow.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. If you've ever played that, you can choose between the specific types. You can be a troll, you can be an orc, you can be a human, or you can be undead, which
Okay.
is just the undead human.
Okay, well, maybe this is a good opportunity to ask them to comment. Is a zombie a human? Is a zombie a human? Because I got mixed
Get
feelings
in
about
on
it.
the conversation, guys.
Join the conversation.
You're gonna want to be in on this.
Okay.
My watch just told me it was dying.
Number 2.
That's why I didn't bring it.
Number 2, which kind of piggybacks off his, life straw.
Ooh.
So,
water.
yeah, life
Oh
straw.
no! What am I going to be
slash-
drinking?
slash bag. So what a life straw is, they've got a life straw and then a life straw bag. So it's basically a filter. You can just
Okay.
go up to like a pond and drink right out of the pond.
You can
or
literally
you can,
just.
yeah, or you
man, I
can
wish
fill
I
up
would've thought
a
of that.
bag. Mine comes with I think it's a 5-gallon bag, and you can fill it up with water and then hang it, and then you can just it's like a spout.
That is fancy. Would you shower with that?
No.
Why would you shower
No.
with that?
I mean, you
What a
could.
waste of water.
You could, but
stay
yeah,
clean.
water's
Zombie apocalypse.
you
water's
get-
kind of a precious commodity.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
I
do
was
like
just
the
planning on being
the
camped
wet
by a
nap,
stream.
the wet
So
nap bath.
if we are all together, I'm going to need to borrow your life straw, and I'll have to be like camel bag.
So, survival tip
Man,
here.
I'm terrible at
survival
throwing
question.
these. I didn't realize how much skill it took to throw those.
Takes a lot. You get used to it.
We're very good. You shouldn't drink right out of the stream then, because of microbes and
microbes and organisms
I'm
that
pretty
will
sure that's how
end
you
up
get
getting you
dysentery.
dysentery.
That's how you get it in the
Okay.
Oregon Trail.
the like. Right.
That much I know about survival. You don't
right.
drink right from the stream.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know what we should do, Cameron? On YouTube, we should have all the items mentioned in today's podcast in the link below in the description. That way they can order off of it and we can make tons of money.
Well, based on this, if you stick around till the end, you'll realize the zombie apocalypse has already started, and you should buy these.
Links in the description.
Yeah. Anyway, so my number 2. So let me a little story about. Actually, the story is going to give it away. My number 2 is Hatchet. Now here's the story.
That's a good one.
Here's the
That's a
story.
good one.
Very
Whenever
good one.
I was a
Hatchet.
kid, there was this book called Hatchet. See how that would have given it away a
I
little bit.
see it, yeah.
There was this book called Hatchet, and I was mesmerized by this book because it was about this kid that I guess was in a plane, and the plane crashed, and for some reason all he had was a hatchet.
I think they talked about that on the
It was
Alone
definitely
show.
pre-TSA because the hatchet would not have flown.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was a private plane, but it was him alone, and all he had was a hatchet, and he survived. And the things he was able to do with this hatchet was incredible. And, some of my other things on the list, obviously I have more than a hatchet, but it's helpful to have the hatchet. Because when I remember specifically a while ago when we were kids, we would. Do you remember making like bow and arrows
Out of sticks?
Out of just we would literally just cut a branch off a tree, and what we would use was like the weed eater cord. Mom was probably pretty upset about that. Now that I think about that. We would use the weed eater cord, and we would
Spoiler alert, that's where the weed eater cord always
yeah,
went.
sorry, Mom. Anyway, so we would tie the ends of the stick
remember that.
together.
I totally
We'd make
forgot about this.
a bow and arrow, and it actually shot really well for what it was
yeah.
for a primitive bow and arrow.
Off that same note, do you remember the spike ball grenades
Oh yeah,
from the Springfield house?
yeah.
Oh, those
Stepping
things
on
hurt.
one of those, running barefoot, and you
Oh,
just step on just one of those.
Throwing them and getting hit by one
Yeah,
was
that too.
pretty painful.
Yeah, those good times.
Yeah, and
I
so-
thankfully don't have any of those trees in my yard.
Yeah,
Those
that
were
would
the
be-
worst.
That would be terrible.
Raking up those spiky balls.
But who even what's the appeal of that tree? Oh, this tree looks really good. Except it drops landmines. Like,
Except,
this is
I don't know.
This is terrible.
Comment and tell us what tree that is.
No,
if you have one.
You don't. We'll look it up after that. Don't waste a comment on
Any
that.
arborers that are watching.
Yeah, but
Somebody knows what that is.
Yeah, so hatchet, because you can use it to cut up firewood. You can use it to do a lot of things. Make a bow and arrow is what I would do first.
I 100% support that.
I would make a bow and arrow first. That's what I would try to do.
Obviously, a hatchet is important.
Yeah.
But it didn't make my list.
No weapons
Which is
did.
why, when you're out, let me set this one up. When you're in
Do you need to?
If you have to set each one up.
When you're in the wilderness, when you're fighting the zombies, you're going to be eating, you're not going to have a very consistent diet. Okay? Meaning you're going to be eating either large quantities of meat at one time, or maybe you're just doing like
Why do I
roots
already
and
know what
moss.
this is gonna be?
And you want to stay regular, which is why it's Smooth Move Tea is
Yeah,
my
yeah.
number 2.
Why not? Why not just make like a multivitamin or something, or like just a catch-all? You're just wanting to poop,
that would
you're
be.
just wanting to poop better.
You're talking about addressing the root of the problem, which is probably would have been a better idea. This is just addressing the symptoms, which is you can't poop.
He's
Yes.
just putting a
But
duct
again,
tape
you don't
Band-Aid
want to
over
drink
it.
too much of that, or call back to what we talked about earlier. You can be tracked.
Yeah, you got to leaving a trail.
Getting the old,
But
old
if you
Hershey
never,
squirts.
we're gonna leave a link to Smooth Move Tea in the description if you ever are
That stuff-
having trouble.
So real talk, that stuff works
too
really well.
almost, yeah.
I thought I was drinking normal tea once, and I had drank like 2 or 3 cups of Smooth Move tea.
Oh no!
Woo-wee.
You don't want to exceed the recommended dosage, I think is one
which
serving.
is 1 cup.
Today's episode is brought to you by.
Poo poo. All right.
You realize you guys have had like 3 different poop references. Just
Doodle?
We have.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was that kind of show. I thought we were above it.
I am they've all been me, and I am most certainly not above it.
Yeah, we're
you guys have definitely stepped in it.
Time for oh, come on, man. Gross.
It's too easy.
Man, it's a family show.
Low hanging fruit.
Gosh.
Is this a family show?
I don't know. Number 1.
Number 1, bow and arrow.
Oh, my hat
Bow and arrow.
Yeah, so
That's 2 items. Cheater.
well, okay.
We'll
maybe.
give you the bow. Now you can't shoot anything.
I'll have to make
Joke's
the arrows.
on you.
I've got the multi-tool. I can make the arrows.
That's true.
So I'll take the bow.
Wait a
Cut it in
second.
half. But it's multi-purpose, right?
Okay.
It's when it's a weapon. It's a weapon. It can, again, other people coming trying to steal all my good ideas here, my good stuff.
Yeah.
Can snipe them out with the bow. But then 2, it's a hunting tool. I can eat.
The
You
guy
get-
did
get your
bring down the
food.
muskox from 35 yards with
Yeah.
a bow and
I mean,
arrow.
that's a pretty,
Yeah.
But
But
I
it-
didn't think about that.
I am not. I can make a primitive bow and arrow, but I would much rather
want the
bring
power.
a really nice
Yeah.
one that I can reach out and touch something.
You want the power with it. I think
Yeah.
that's
a
a good
compound
call.
bow.
I honestly thought about bow and arrows, but I thought arrows would be a second item, and I didn't think about a bow. I was just going to make it.
This is awkward.
I was just going to
Bow.
make it. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm
Are
sorry.
crossbows a legitimate weapon? Do
Yes.
people
Yes.
use those still?
You can hunt with crossbows.
My thing is, I love just how cool it feels to just have like a recurve normal bow.
Katniss Everdeen style.
Yes. Also, Legolas.
All right, last one.
There
There we go.
That was a really good
Yeah.
throw. That was a good throw. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the recurve bow. That's
I'm very curious
good.
what your number 1 is, Cameron.
it's way different than probably what yours is.
I thought yours was going to be a bow. That's what I thought.
I used hatchet as number 2.
Yeah.
But the number 1 thing, and I stand by this. Like, this is, to me, if I could bring 1 item in a survival scenario, it would be paracord. Just like 100 feet of paracord. They sell them in the 100 feet lengths. And paracord can be used for a lot of stuff.
Like what?
I don't know.
So what have
Make a
you?
hammock, maybe?
What have you used for?
With 100 feet of paracord, you gotta make a
It's
hammock?
going to be a small hammock.
Do you own anything that you've used paracord with?
I have paracord.
But have you
Well, I
actually
don't need
used
to
it?
now. I'm not in the survival scenario.
I think
What would you use it for?
What would I use it for? Well, it would definitely be the string of my bow and arrow. That was kind of one of the main things.
Okay.
That was the first thought. You could use it to set traps, probably.
Snare
You could use
a
it
rabbit?
when mixed with the duct tape. It could actually be very useful, and that's what I was thinking. So, like, I would again in the book Hatchet. There's a lot of different stuff he does. He does stuff with like his shoelace, and I'm just like, well, that's just I would want my shoes.
Sounds like you did a primitive Google before you.
No, I've just watched. What do you
that's
mean?
one of our rules on our show, Colton, is we don't
Google.
No, that's what I said. Primitive Google, the Hatchet.
Oh,
He's did two things from Hatchet.
Man, that was above both of our heads. That was a really good joke. But yeah, the book Hatchet has changed my outlook on survival because I was just like, okay,
maybe I should
it
read
could
this
be a
book.
little fishing line. It's going to be a very big fishing line.
We went to the same school. It was a required.
It was a
reading.
required
I definitely
read.
never read this.
That's
I mean,
the whole
I didn't
reason
read
read
like 80% of the books that were required.
Same here.
I mean,
But this one, for some reason, it got
Cliff
me,
Notes.
Roman. It got me.
One of the things I do wish about school is
Tripwire. I could make a tripwire with it. This is sorry.
Okay.
you
Forget what were
interrupted
about
my
to say.
story.
Yeah, don't worry about this.
I was about to get real
back
about
to my-
education and the problems thereof.
Back to my number one.
Well,
this is what I was thinking.
Future generations.
This is what I was
forget it.
thinking. If I can use that paracord, I could use it to set tripwires that made sounds if zombies were coming near to wake us up.
Okay, that's a good one.
That was actually as I remember now. Because,
like you would like attach a bell to it.
yeah,
pots and
not
pans.
necessarily a bell, but pots and pans, little strips of metal, things that would make noise that would wake us up if we're out there. By us, I mean me in this scenario and none of my family.
Smart.
But that's what I was originally going to use it for. But also you could use it for traps. Bow and arrow is probably the first thing I'd try to make with it.
Okay, so
Sorry about your
you
education.
guys aren't good. That's all right. I was just gonna say
You don't care for it?
I like reading now, but I didn't like reading in high school because they forced me to read. But I don't know what the alternative is.
Give them the option. I would have not done it.
Read better books.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe
It's the same thing. Maybe
I
better
think-
books. Yeah, that's what it is. Better
To
books.
me-
Like it's like what they
Why was I
required-
reading The Scarlet Letter as a teenage
Yeah,
boy?
or like this deep literature, like Hunger Games.
The only thing I remember from Macbeth is bubble, bubble, toil and trouble because it was kind of funny.
Like, yeah, actually, I think
Three Witches?
in
Sure.
high school, hey, if you're watching and you're on the school board, let kids read books that'll get them interested in reading. Then they can read the literature down the road. They'll be interested in it if they like reading.
I don't actually think they will be interested
That
in
won't
the
happen,
literature
but
from the past. I think
if you're into it, you could. Be.
I think I
like
get what you're
my
saying.
wife she enjoys the literature of old. The Jane Eyres of the world.
Yes.
Me, I like reading something that kind of
I don't remember what author.
action. I don't know.
I don't remember what author said this, and I don't think it's a direct quote. But he talked about how people don't hate reading; they just hate the book that they're reading. Everyone loves good stories. Stories are something that everyone likes.
That was The Rock, by the way.
Oh, it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson, probably. The Rock, if you're listening to this.
The great philosopher of our time, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
But no, that's the thing. Like, I thought I hated reading, but once I started actually getting like into books that I really liked and enjoyed, I didn't care about reading. I was just going to go for it.
Yeah, thanks for forcing me to read Animal Farm.
Oh, hey.
Sheesh.
I never read that. Here's my strat. My strategy was this. I would not read the book. Sometimes, Spark Notes or Cliff Notes or whatever
was
that
coming
was.
around whenever
Sometimes
I was in high
I would
school,
use
yeah.
that, but my main strategy when I was in school
Kids,
was
listen
I would
up.
not don't do this, okay? This is not a
We have
license
Cameron's
for you to-
official recommendation to do this.
Well, this is probably maybe I shouldn't now. No, but I would literally just talk to my friends and be like, "So what stuck out to you guys about the book? Like what things? What questions would you think were on the?
That's
would
very
be on the
manipulative.
test?
I would just, if I didn't read it, I'd
yeah.
probably just say, I didn't read this. Tell me what the answers are.
No. I would literally, and they knew I didn't read it, but I would ask them what
So
they
you did
thought.
like a little mini book club before.
Yeah, and they'd be like, this, and this, probably the things that stood out.
In the world of a zombie apocalypse,
Is this a setup again?
there is a lot around you that you're not going to like.
Yeah.
Okay. The real world kind of blows, which is why I'm bringing a VR headset to escape to a world that I actually want to live in. Like a futuristic, utopian island where I can go and escape from the
while you're
reality.
doing
He
that?
escaped for 12 minutes
And
until
then
the
he gets
zombie
hit by a zombie. He's gonna be like, "All right, time to die."
But I'm telling you, I focus on quality of life. This will obviously be solar powered, obviously.
because that's a thing.
There are no solar
It would
powered
be
VR headsets.
nuclear reactor powered. By then, by
That
zombie,
sounds
we're gonna
like
have.
you might get cancer from
we're
that.
gonna- who cares? We're in a zombie
Good
apocalypse.
point. Sorry, my
He's going
bad.
to take up smoking, too.
Yeah, I guess so.
Gonna roll a
Quality
pack of
life,
cigarettes
huh?
in his sleeve.
VR headset,
well-
my top pick for
Well,
zombie apocalypse.
Some pretty good number ones,
That
guys.
moves us to an honorable mentions, my friends.
Hey.
Which I think I have two.
I have a small list, but I say we hear yours first and end on Romans because let's be honest, they're going to be hilarious.
So I had the hatchet hammer combo.
Okay, hammer on
the other end. I had that because that's
a great combo.
But I figured I could make that if I needed one, and I would need
With
one
rocks.
If push come to shove,
but
you
my
can
number
make it.
one honorable mention was a samurai sword. Because I mean, zombies.
Let's be honest.
You want to kill in
the
style.
best tool.
It's true.
Yeah,
It
it's the
just
best tool. It's
is.
quiet.
It doesn't run out of ammo.
And then you get to walk around like a samurai, hanging on your hip.
Yeah.
It's pretty
There's
awesome.
in the Walking Dead. There's that girl that I think her name's
Misha.
Michonne.
Misha? Misha.
Michonne.
You guys are really up on The Walking Dead.
Michonne.
Sorry, that's Misha.
Michonne.
That's Misha and the bear.
I was going to catch up on Walking Dead and the Zombie Apocalypse when I have my box set DVD.
But she has these samurai swords, and like when she enters the show, she's got like 2 zombies on a leash, and she's just got a samurai
Well, that's
sword.
just ridiculous.
It keeps the other
If you
zombies
didn't make
away.
it that far, it was...
Here's the thing, though. She cut off the bottom of... This is graphic. She cuts off like the bottom of their chin so that they can't bite her, and she has them on a leash so that the smell of zombies is around, and she can walk around undetected.
They got real creative with that show.
They did. And it was kind of gross most of the time.
But I mean, again, a strategy you could potentially use, which is why I'd bring them as reference material.
That's good. That's good.
So I also got Doomsday Truck. Like one of those big
Well, it just seems-
lifted truck
Yeah,
with
I see that.
like a locomotive ram where you can just ram through zombies.
Like, what's the movie in the desert?
Max.
Mad Max style.
Max. Yeah.
Mad
I
Max
get that.
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Also got a sailboat. Sailboat, right?
Yeah, why
These
is
zombies can't swim.
Why isn't anyone on boats in the
Zombies can't
apocalypse?
swim.
It's a great
We don't
movie.
know that.
It's-
So this is part of what I was thinking. Like, we don't know they can't swim. We've just depicted them in movies as can't understand water.
Well, think about it.
Or
Even if they
love.
can swim,
Yeah.
even if they can swim, if you take your sailboat out far enough,
What's a sailboat?
it's
Yeah, yucky.
it's a zombie sailboat.
Icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it out far enough. I think live on
Yeah.
and then
Live
just
on a boat.
bring it back
But
in.
why didn't you just put yacht?
But the reason we don't see that in
Well,
the
you don't have any gas.
Good point.
the reason we don't see that in the movies is
Good
because
point.
it's not very interesting to see someone
Yeah,
just
it's
on
like-
a boat.
it's like the
with
Rambo-
zombies over there.
It's like the Rambo and the multi-tool.
That's basically what Castaway was. Minus
Great
the boat.
movie. Just watched that recently.
It
Holds up.
totally holds up. Wilson. Wilson's
Too
the ball.
expected. Cameron.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Too
sorry.
expected.
And then
I'm
I got
sorry.
rope. I got your rope.
Rope.
Paracord rope.
Mine was
Yeah,
paracord. Rope
so
seems like it's going to be really thick.
it would
See,
be. But
here was I think in
gotta
the back of my
climb
mind
up a
my
mountain.
my list. Okay, these are all things that I'm gonna find out there. You know,
Oh, man.
You're
I'm
really
gonna-
bad at
so
throwing
I
terrible.
have to really work to find a wood wick candle or a VR headset. I can find rope. Easy.
Find rope in my house right now. Find rope in my neighbor's house right now.
All right,
You're
Cameron.
not going to find rope.
Honorable mentions. Where you at?
So I'm going to just, I was going to say blaze through these, but I might not. A pot to boil water.
Smart.
Solar powered, whatever. Solar powered or crank flashlight would be my second option.
Oh, yeah.
Solar powered is probably the first option. Because the crank would make noise, and I wouldn't want that.
See, I've gone full Vin Diesel, and I can see in the dark.
Oh,
now.
okay, yeah. You got dark vision. It's
Dark
wonderful.
vision.
What is that reference? Is that like XXX or something? What is?
No.
No,
It's,
it was
Chronicles of
it was
Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah, he had like these really
Chronicles
dark
of
eyes.
Riddick.
and he would always wear those sunglasses.
They made like 2 or 3 of them.
probably that's why they're the Chronicles.
Well, that's true. There were
if it was
chronicles
just one
of
movie,
them.
it would just be called Riddick.
I think the first one
that
was
was-
Riddick, and then it was Chronicles of Riddick.
You know
my
what?
gosh.
Little did I know when we started a podcast, we'd be talking about Chronicles of Riddick and
Hey,
Vin Diesel's.
Vin Diesel, if you're out there,
worst
your
role.
family.
Oh, bring it back around.
Family joke. Anyway, a book of survival tips.
That almost made my list. Actually,
I mean, like legitimately,
How to survive for dummies.
Exactly. Yeah, how to survive a zombie
can
apocalypse for
I
dum
eat
dums.
this algae without dying?
What is this? How to make a bear trap?
How to snare a bear trap?
Just going for it. Not a
go
rabbit,
for a
just
bear.
going for a bear.
That's what Roman was talking about with the show alone.
Big
you want the
game.
biggest animal
You
you,
want
can
the big
find. I
game,
want to
man.
eat this for days.
You're gonna prove to the animals that you are not prey.
And then exactly. And then last and like definitely should have been number 1 on my list. I don't know what I was thinking. A shark cage on wheels.
A shark cage?
Yes.
Bit by zombie.
Oh, so
It's a zombie,
yeah.
you're just like hitting the cage, and you're just like, you're just like walking through it. You can find whatever you want, and you just wait till the zombies lose interest, or you poke them in the eyes or poke them in the head while you're just in the cage.
That's pretty good.
I've seen like they use that like in the in Africa for like lion cages, like for some people.
Yeah.
So like you walk through and it's on wheels and it's not going to get you.
That's pretty good.
Should have been my number one.
Yeah.
Rope and paracord.
Well, it's kind of a
really
doomsday
pales
truck.
in comparison.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't put it on the list. It felt kind of like cheating.
It is a little bit like cheating, but
Oh, man, you
I like
make it look so flawless. Seamless.
My honorable mentions, I had a few, but these are the top two. Okay, number one, when you're in a zombie apocalypse, there's obviously lots of what? Zombies. So you want a zombie mask and or zombie makeup to blend in with the zombies
Roman,
when they're around.
They don't go off of looks.
What do you mean? How do you know?
They go off of smell. I changed my mind. But I mean, their eyes are always glazed over. Whoa, hit my mic. Sorry. Their eyes are always glazed over.
Yeah, well,
in shows
in my
and
scenario,
movies.
this
A lot of zombie weed.
Yeah,
in my
probably.
scenario, the zombie, what is it, like a virus, it's been tweaked a little bit to where it's the sight thing. They go after the people that look like people.
Oh, so you just changed what a zombie apocalypse is
Exactly.
in your scenario. Okay, that's
Thing
cool.
number two.
Yeah.
In a world of a zombie apocalypse, fashion has really gone out the window.
Oh my god.
Nobody, everyone's wearing tattered clothes that they've had on for a month, which is why one of my honorable mentions is a tuxedo. Because there's no celebrities anymore. So we're going to have a new opportunity to create an A-list. And when you're walking around a zombie apocalypse in a tuxedo, you are immediately the entire A-list.
That's the guy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's the guy in the tuxedo. He's famous. Everybody know about that guy? Does that mean
Take the
anything?
tuxedo.
What is that?
Somebody just shot you and took your tuxedo.
While you were playing your VR
You
headset.
were on a VR headset.
Can you imagine me in the middle of zombie apocalypse in a tuxedo with the VR headset on, woodwick candle in hand?
I can imagine a bunch of zombies chewing on your legs.
Man, that's my list.
Man. Wow. What a long episode this is.
What a wild ride this was.
Yeah, hey, it was good. Thank you to our brother Colton for being
Thanks for having me.
on the show.
Appreciate it.
You had the best list.
Yeah, I liked how you actually had practical items. So if nothing else, somebody watch this, they're gonna have a good little practical list
Yeah.
of items to. Maybe that's what we'll do when we bring on guests. We bring on experts.
And then we have our stupid lists, and they correct us the whole time.
Yeah, that's
this
fun.
could work.
That's fun.
This could be a
well,
format
we like
for
to
the
end
show.
every show with the brothers. So hands in, everybody. 1, 2, 3, brothers.
Should we
know.
stop? How long
Should
do
we
we
stop the
stare?
episode?
I don't know if we do end every show with
I
brothers.
don't think we do. Should we probably just
Maybe we'll put an end to that.
yeah.
That'll get a little
We'll
old.
start.
I don't know, you did it.
Bye.
And cut.